Well, before we see how bad things are gonna get, let's check the journal. Bumping into Luke after his flight from the ballroom, Johannes quickly ushered the paranoid man to his room, while the house's security looked for the trespasser, only to be greeted by a room devoid of Hana, who was supposed to have arrived with the butler. That's it for that day. Undiscovered journal entry at the end there. Odd. Luke Wright woke up to a storm raging outside and with his whole house eerily quiet. Power was still off, and his butler was nowhere to be found even when called. Taking his gun with him, he went out to investigate, and in the foyer of his own house... Angered, Luke demanded for Hana's release from the woman. Although the woman eventually released his wife, there was anger and contempt in her face. All of a sudden, the whole house shifted. In a blink, blood and gore was everywhere. That's that for that. Alright. Things do not look good. Hopefully this doesn't get everyone killed. It's a slow thing, a whisper more than a bang, as the darkness creeps into every corner of the room. The walls shudder and groan. Blood runs from the ceiling, crawls down the walls, and stains the floor. It feels as if life itself is being sucked from the house, slowly but surely. The beauty of the place is gone, with only the dead, decaying remains of a mansion left in its wake. I don't have to wonder if it is just the foyer that's become the nightmarish place. I can already hear it. Gone are the growling of thunder and the lashings of rain and wind against the foyer's high windows. All of it has been replaced by more grating sound. A cacophony of voices from nowhere and everywhere echoing throughout the now horrid walls. Voices that neither belongs to us nor the people who live here.
What's going on?
All throughout the house, shouts of alarm and surprise ring out, a mirror to the horror creeping up in each of us. Who wouldn't be shocked? This is insane. Even Daisy, feisty woman that she is, trembles at the sight of it, clinging desperately to Lily, while Steel and Feathers stand protectively in front of the other two. Brave of them, I have to admit, to put themselves in the front line like that. Though it doesn't necessarily mean they don't feel the same fear as the rest of us. It's something I don't blame them for. There seems to be no end in sight to this insanity. If anything, this only feels like it's the beginning of the end.
Help me! Oh my god! Please, somebody! Anybody!
It's the spirits of those who have been killed here before, trapped in the house.
Who are you? Stay away!
No. Stay away. Stay away.
Their screams fill the mansion. They're really getting a lot of use out of that laugh of hers. She laughs all the while, a harsh, agonizing sound that goes on for what feels like forever. Until there's nothing but silence, her horrid smile, and pale hands reaching out to me. Calling. I swear if this is gonna be a quick time event, we're screwed. Beckoning. Pleading. Because the music usually accompanies a quick time event. I'm terrified. I really am, like I should be. But I have never been one to truly stay afraid. I've long learned that fear will not get me anywhere. Cowering in a corner doesn't keep me safe, and it will not keep me alive, not like rage does. I have learned to use this burning hate inside of me to survive. There is no difference now.
Stay away from me!
Why? Why do you wish to leave? This is where you belong, my lord. Remember the blood we share. This is your home. Don't you remember? You promised to return, to stay, together with me, with us, with people no different from you.
What is she talking about, Luke? What does she mean?
Don't listen to her, she lies. I promised no such thing to anyone. Hana, you're the one who bought this house. How should I know what she's babbling about? I never even wanted to be here in the first place.
A terrible case of mistaken identity. That must be it. I'm quite sure of it. I don't know this woman, this monster. Why would I say that to someone like her? In my entire lifetime, I've only made and kept sincere promises to a mere two people, Hannah Evans and Eleanor Chandler. No one else. The rest of those who claim I've promised anything to them can go F themselves. Bloody hell, I may enjoy the company of women, but I am not an idiot to start spouting such nonsense to any of them. A line must be drawn, especially if I am to keep myself alive. Yet she goes on, insists, making me appear a liar in front of these people.
Of course you still deny it. Have you truly forgotten? You haven't changed, I see. Still a deceiver.
She's lying!
You see, my love, nothing has changed. Still no difference, you and I. Just like the rest of us. Just like every single soul in this putrid wreck. We've waited for so long. You can hear them, yes. Their pleas, their calls, their invitation. Come, my lord. The house seeks its master.
She, the monster, reaches out again, her hands a gory, abhorrent sight, along with that smile spread across her face. My body's already moving on instinct, stumbling back one step at a time in a desperate bid to be away from her. Anything to put distance between me and this vile creature. No matter what she says, I am nothing like her. I need to get out of this house. Out of this country, preferably. Take Hana with me. We can start a new life out of this dreadful city, start a family. There's nothing for us here. Her parents are long gone. Nothing to keep us tied to this place. Shrokin has likely been taken by this woman, and he's not what binds me to this wretched city. I only need Hana. We can leave. We can...
Careful, Luke.
My footsteps on something, sending me sliding on my back and flat on the floor. Beside me, a paper, familiar one, flutters down. It's this thing again from the open house, though it feels less like a gimmick and more like a threat. What with recent events? It must have fallen from one of these peasants in the commotion earlier. For a moment they appear conflicted to see it in my hands, but wisely keeps their opinion to themselves, leaving the damn thing to simply bear its grisly message for everyone in the room to see. Help me! Help me! Help me! Is this it? What they've been telling us? Why everything in my life has gone to shite? Because of some stupid old letter? An invitation, indeed. One I am not willing to accept. Not any time. From the top of the stairs, the creature moves again, drawing my attention back to her. Her gait remains slow and awkward as she walks forward, that smile never leaving her. But I won't give her the chance. I'm not dying here. I certainly am not giving myself to a hideous creature like her either. Adrenaline kicks in, and despite panicked gasps and worried glances from Daisy's friends, I pay them no mind as I reach for the main door, and... without warning, it slams open, revealing not the mansion grounds like I am expecting. Before my mind can even comprehend what's happening, black tendrils have already coiled tightly around my limbs, dragging every person in the foyer into the room. None of us even get to scream when darkness completely envelopes us upon the doors closing. Game over, everyone died.
Understand where your place is now, my love. You belong here. Is it so difficult to grasp? We've been waiting.
There's a moment of panic when the feeling of the tendrils around my limbs finally dissipates. As soon as my eyes adjust to the darkness of the room, and I'm on my feet, I'm reaching for my knife and holding it out, watching, waiting for every movement, because I guess he dropped his gun. Using it as a way to put distance between me and these peasants. And what sounds like something dripping. Who knows what they'll do now? We're all desperate to get out of this house. There's only 7 of us in this room, 4 of them, friends at that. I cannot trust these people not to turn on me. Bloody hell, even Hana's giving me the same looks as them now. Though Mint has already gone loon, crouched in a corner and muttering to herself, you can't really say anyone's safe from her. If anything, she's the one I should watch out for. I cannot trust anyone. Not anymore. Not even Hana. Not after this. Despite the pleading looks Lily shoots my way while they all huddle in the corner behind steel and feathers. But I have to remind myself that even people like her are capable of doing the unpleasant. She's only human after all. It's never an excuse. Why, even Hana has her cunning, manipulative moments, though she does it much subtler than I. Why else would they show this letter to us that day if not to save herself? I guess that backfired on her now that she and her own friends are also stuck here. Still, I have every right to be livid. Everything that I've built has fallen apart. All because these people came into our lives.
You! All of you! This is all your fault! If I've died to this bloody curse, I'm taking you all down with me!
Wow, bravo, that was deranged.
Put that knife down, Lucille.
Oh, she's whipping out Lucille. It's serious.
Hey now, Mr. Wright. I know the situation ain't good, but we have to calm down. We're all in the same boat here.
You shut your mouth! If it weren't for you, or this letter, for all of you, none of this would have happened!
And blaming everyone in this room isn't going to get us out of this place. Please put that knife down, darling. You might hurt yourself.
Are you taking their side? You're also stuck in this nightmare, Buttercup. What about the children? Aren't you the least bit worried about them?
That creature is out to get us, and you're still defending these people!
I'm not defending anyone, Luke. I'm just trying to be reasonable when you're clearly not.
Oh, of course you're not. You're just the one who bought this bloody mansion to begin with.
If I didn't know any better, you did this on purpose!
Why, no. Why would I ever do that? This was only meant to be an anniversary gift.
Oh? Also, she's still wearing the necklace.
For you. For us. For the family we're going to have.
Right, anniversary gift. Oh, here's your gift, darling. Oh, by the way, there's a curse included in that package. I hope that's all right.
Are you really that eager to get rid of me, Hana?
Because if that's what you've been meaning to do all this time, you might as well just put a knife in my back while I'm...
Suddenly, Hana steps up and slaps the knife away from my hand. Said knife slides uselessly under the table out of my reach. Before my mind registers what's happening, a sharp blow explodes in the side of my head, sending me reeling backwards. Oh! Did she punch him? She merely stands before me afterwards without even batting an eye, glaring at me as if she might just rip my head off in this instant. Sometimes I forget.
Don't you dare, Luke. Don't you dare imply I've ever thought of you that way.
That Hana is never the weak woman I believed her to be. How did I come to think of her as such? She used to be someone I can look up to, isn't she? When you look at her now, the way she stands tall facing a man like me, the same way she has done so all those years ago, I can't help but think, am I not responsible for taking that part of herself away from her? Enjoy your time as Mrs. Luke Wright. What a bunch of shite. Realizing this, I can only look away when she reaches up and places a hand on my face. Gone is the anger, and only a soft smile remains, while she looks at me with a shine in her eyes. The 7 years we've been together, I've only been nothing but a piece of shite to her, but she's totally into it, and just realized that she actually likes, being abusive. Yet here she is, still smiling at me the way she has done so many years ago. It's impossible not to feel like a complete and utter trash like this. She has an uncanny way of doing that to me, really, especially when she takes my hand in hers and places it right on her tummy. Right where 2 tiny babies are still growing. Ours.
Love, look at me. We've already talked about this. If we are still going to do this, it has to be the 2 of us. I will stay with you, but things are going to have to change if we want this to work. We can't keep doubting each other like this.
Not until we find a way out of here.
I'm sure we can. Maybe they know something we don't.
You're going to rely on them for that? These peasants who brought this on us?
Keep talking about us like that and see if any of us here will keep you out of this place.
Rebecca, stop! All of you stop this!
To hear Lily speak out loud, I can't say I'm not surprised. She has always given me the impression of someone so meek from the moment I've met her, either from her inexperience or her station in life. She has never struck me as someone fitting to be a real estate agent. Until now. Because she's really putting on those real estate agent shoes and doing real estate agent-like stuff, I guess. Quietly, she puts herself between me and Daisy, cutting whatever scathing words we've yet to hurl at each other. The way she glares at me, it reminds me a little of the way my own mum would look at me. Particularly when I've done something wrong, and it's not a stare she's unused to showing. She has done this before, probably to a younger sibling. Huh. If she only sees us now as a pair of squabbling kids and not 2 mature adults, well, that's only to be expected. No doubt that's how she sees us. For a long moment, there's only silence in the room. Steele, the big oath, doesn't even dare break it, neither does Feathers. With both merely watching us. Bunch of wimps, these men. Not that it matters when Lily starts speaking again. Oh god. I was attacked by yawn. After some of the anger and tension has lifted from the room.
Stop this, please! With or without that damn piece of paper,
A deep breath. An exhale. And then she closes her eyes, a crease forming between her eyebrows while she grips her hand tightly in front of her.
we still would have ended up in this mess.
The atmosphere that descends into the room right after that admission is anything but pleasant. Can I call it that? An admission? It seems like it was from the way her eyes nervously flick between her friends and I. She appears to know more than she lets on, and how she makes herself appear smaller after dropping that bomb on us doesn't sit quite well with me. And patience is something I don't have the luxury of having right now, bestowing upon other people. What else does this girl know? What else is she not telling us? Because from the looks of this, even her friends has no idea what she's talking about. Unwilling to wait, I grab her arm before she retreats without explanation, waving the letter still in my hand in front of her.
Ow! Sir, you're hurting me!
Hey, hands off her, right?
Fuck off, Feathers. I have questions for your friend, and she better have the answers.
Luke, will you stop taking it out on every single person?
Your friend is hiding something, Daisy.
She struggles for a moment, but my hold eventually forces her to look up at me. Fear and uncertainty spreads across her features, especially when her eyes land on the damned paper. As much as I want to be considerate right now, I want answers.
What do you mean, Lily?
I'm not sure about it.
Don't give me that, you know something!
Ow! Please, sir! I know the paper's useless, okay?
At the mention of the letter, all of a sudden, Mint stands. I've almost forgotten she's here, her ramblings having faded away in the shouting. Without warning, she snatches the paper out of my hand. It's a miracle it didn't rip right there and there. But the way she glares at it, I think she may want to do exactly that.
We should have gotten rid of this thing! We should have burned it at the first opportunity we got! No, even if we rip it to shreds, it won't do anything. I think...
What do you think?
You don't know what I've seen, Santos. There were children! Victims!
All because they had no idea what this thing will do to them. Oh God, those poor souls. They were screaming and begging before she... Then what about those people they mentioned in the news lately? All those who died? My coworkers? The open house clients? None of them had seen it. Even Rose. And yet they're all dead.
No, Rose totally saw it. She saw it along with the rights.
I should know. That letter has been with me since I picked it up. And I swear I didn't make copies of this thing. Even if I wanted to save myself, I wouldn't do that to my friends. Or anyone.
Is that what the trip to BRC was for?
Yes, I'm sorry. I couldn't tell you guys until I was certain. None of you believed me the first time. I had to find proof.
And yet we're all here! Are you taking me for a fool, Lily?
I have to go with whiskey on this. Who knows how many has already seen this before you found it? This cursed thing has to go!
We would have ended up here either way. Maybe? I really don't know. Sir, please. All I know is that paper isn't the reason why all of this is happening.
Then why?
There's something else that...
This place.
Steele has been quiet this entire time, that the sound of him talking, however whispered it is, still manages to catch us all off guard. What if they are reincarnations of past characters from whatever event that the ghost is from? And she just didn't come back like the others did. We all pause, turning to him with likely the same questions in our eyes.
What?
I just remembered something a friend told me. You know, stuff about ghosts or curses. You probably don't want to hear it.
No, it might be something. What about this place, Zach?
There's still a moment where he hesitates, but Lily's urging eventually spurs him into speaking.
Remember what I told you the last time you and Ash visited? A few days ago?
You mean what Andrew told you? Those were just stories, Zach. It might not even help.
Regardless, Steele pauses while he allows Lily to remember. Soon enough, whatever it is dawns on her and her face lights up with something like hope. Of all things in this nightmare, hope. Her head snaps up and she reaches for Steele's arm to give it a squeeze. A reassurance or a confirmation. The meaning is lost even to Daisy, who glances at them, baffled.
Belle, what are you...
Becca, it's this place.
What? You mean, like, burn this place down?
Burn it down, just to be safe.
I still think we should get rid of this letter before we start thinking of destroying a place with some historical value.
What? No? We are not burning a multi-million-pound mansion, you peasants! I just spent a fortune on this!
Seriously, Luke, are you really more worried about that?
Buttercup, marching, millions. It's gonna take years getting all that money back!
He's like hyperventilating at the idea. Hilarious.
Well, you certainly won't be getting any of that money if you're dead. Really, Luke? Is that more important than your life?
Bloody fucking hell! Not only do I have trespassers on my property, but they're also arsonists!
It's not only that. Think about it.
Then they proceed to tell some ridiculous narrative about the supernatural. Stories about ghosts, legends, curses born out of great anger and pain, and whatever else people use to scare children. Oh, cat. Not that I believe any of this. As if knowing will help. Bunch of loons, these people, officially off their rockers. To think I'll be stuck in this nightmare with people like them. What did I ever do, the world? Of course, it's all absurd until...
I think it's just like what the professor guy said. Just like that old story.
That professor guy?
This mansion and some other thing might be keeping her here.
The necklace.
You know, something he wanted in life, but never got to have. Something like that.
Or maybe it's not something, Zachary.
Someone, like she's been saying this entire time? Someone. The who doesn't have to be uttered out loud. There's only one person in this room who that woman calls after. Every single one of them has heard it. Bloody hell, it's in the reluctant shift in Daisy's eyes when they flicker over to me, though only briefly. She's also holding information on her own, or perhaps a realization she just had. Doesn't matter. I know when people have slowly started to turn on me. How do they think I lasted in this cutthroat world? Betray them before they do the same thing to you. Put a knife in their back before they can act. Kill or be killed. Survival in a nutshell. What now? Are they going to throw me at that creature? See what happens to save themselves. I am no fool.
No. You're all in on this, aren't you?
Are you people implying that my husband, that we should just...
Of course! Of fucking course!
Luke, that isn't what I...
Are you all going to stoop that low?
It's nothing like that, Ash. All we're saying is that maybe he might be able to do something about this.
Drop it, you guys. We're not leaving anyone here.
Just like that, their bickering begins anew. Bloody peasants. My head's already aching just listening to them. To think this is all the solution they can come up with. I should have just stabbed all of them and made a run for it. Because that would have solved things. Doesn't help that with each second we spend talking here, the crazier this whole place gets. The voices have become louder and somehow sounding more vicious. If the things in this room start floating, mark my words, I will effing flip it. Flip out. And they may not be thinking of it right now, but eventually, they'll turn on me. Such is the nature of humans. Better find a way out of this place as soon as possible if I want to stay alive. I still have so much to do, so many people to kill, so much money to make. None of our choices seem sound, but who knows? We don't understand a shite about this place. Might as well try everything, yeah? Whatever works. If I also have to be the one to make that bloody decision, so be it. Less room for errors, with the only sane one doing the thinking. On the off chance I'm wrong, well, they suggested it. I decide to burn the mansion. That's what we're gonna do. Burn the mansion. I said that weird. That was weird. Burn the mansion. There we go. Right after this break. I'm going to regret this, I will. But with these cries growing louder, this has become the easiest decision I have ever made. I'm getting tired of hearing her sobbing, really. It's just irritating. Isn't she getting tired of it? Besides, someone has to act fast, think fast, and what else is the root cause of our problems but this place where the letter was found? No need to make things more complicated. It started here, why won't it end here? If what Lily has said is true, then there's all the more reason to destroy it. Put an end to this madness before someone thinks of putting this blasted place up in the market. When I get out of this place, I swear I'm suing a bunch of people, run that estate company to the ground if need be. We spent millions, damn it. Millions! With a sigh and perhaps a heavy heart, I open one of the drawers of my study table, and without telling anyone of the plan, just start setting everything on fire with no exit strategy. That's how everyone dies. Taking a bottle of liquor. Thank you, cat. Now all I see is furry Cora. Taking a bottle of liquor out for myself, then passing it on to every occupant in the room. They accept it, but not without a look of protest or confused glance my way. It does shut them all up, so maybe I've done something good.
Luke, this isn't the time!
Even more when I pop the cork off the bottle and pour its contents on the floor.
Well, what are you simpletons waiting for?
We waste no time dousing the whole room, the smell of alcohol filling the air. If I didn't know any better, I'd say they're more than eager to set this whole place on fire. And the blaze catches easily in this room when I set it alight using the blasted paper as kindling. With the whole place drenched with wine and all manner of things alcoholic I've been hiding from Hana, the small fire soon turns into an inferno. In a matter of seconds, we're out the door. Oh, look, there's some smoke. Oh, and more smoke. It doesn't exactly lead where I'm hoping it will. Although ending up in the kitchen does give us more reason to play like a bunch of pyromaniacs. Fishing the liquor stocks from the cupboards, we also do the same thing we've done to the study. Door after door in every room we pass, pouring bottle after bottle of expensive aged liquor and setting everything on fire, only leaving once the blaze has started in earnest. When we run out of liquor, we simply drop the bottle and take one off from many nooks I've stashed. My goodness, he stashed alcohol in every single room. My goodness. Bravo, dude. And there's no lack of it in here. The hard stuff, the shorts, the watered down kind. Gifts from a distant relative, friends, so-called friends, you name it. I've made sure there's always one within reach. God damn.
How many of these things do you keep in this house?
I always have a few bottles in the bedroom, you know, the parlor and the dining room.
You have problems, man.
No, this is preparedness. Preparedness is next to godliness.
Well, isn't this the time to discuss them?
Turns out it'll be useful now. Not to drown out my sorrows, but for this wonder of wonders, though I suppose I can say it has also saved my life. But there's no time for some introspection now, because with each room we pass and burn, the place also becomes easier to navigate. As if it's slowly righting itself. Returning to what it's supposed to be. Uh-oh, the butler's gonna die. Soon we finally find ourselves standing before the main door. The strong odor, burning wood, cloth, and varnish alike wafts from under the doors of the rooms we've previously torched, slowly filling the hall with a thick black smoke. The blaze has also started in earnest in every part of the house. I can already feel the heat seeping from the rooms I've set aflame. In a matter of minutes, flames will engulf the whole house. Fittingly, that this is when she appears again before us, watching us from the top of the stairs while her world goes up in flames around her. However, what catches my eyes is that expression on her face. Not the vile smile I've already grown accustomed to, or the one where her eyes gleam with complete hatred. This one, forlorn, is the only word I can think of to describe it.
No, please. Help me. Help me, please.
Can the dead still feel? Can she hear us? Or is that merely another one of her tricks to trap us in this nightmare? Like this, however, she seems almost like the woman she used to be. And I don't waste any time pondering over it. Not with the exit just a few steps away. The door is finally open, and through it I can glimpse the world outside. Safety. However, I do turn, if only to see the last of her. A farewell more than anything. For all of her attempts to lure me, draw me in, her wishes to be with me, she does not stop me when I finally run from this horrid place. Quietly, she disappears. Watching a multi-million-pound house burn before me, for some reason, nothing about this bothers me. Maybe it's the one last look on her face that has changed it. Maybe it's what I've seen and heard inside. There's only a calm, a stillness. The same hush that comes after a terrible storm has swept the countryside. And with it is the sight of the sun rising above the horizon. Ever so slowly, the sky begins to lighten before my eyes. Darkness giving way to the warm morning hues, soft rays spilling over the vast expanse of Luxborn's countryside. Nearby, the trees sway and rustle with the breeze, a passing draft that carries even into this room from outside, cold enough to make me shiver. The remains of a storm that has passed. In the distance, I can hear the soft chirping of birds. All the rest of the world stirs, wakes. Dawn at last. We are free! This looks to be the end, unless there's a surprise twist. Epilogue. Like the flames that engulfed the mansion that night, whispers quickly spread across Luxborn City after the incident. Officers who investigated it have simply deemed it an unfortunate accident. So that means insurance money! Regardless of the truth, Luke Wright files criminal charges against Briar Realty Corporation after, for undisclosed reasons to the public, forcing the latter to declare bankruptcy. A move that has merely stoked the rumors further. But for those who still believe in the stories of the old, and those who know the truth, it is but a testament to the curse and the secrets the Ermengarde mansion has hidden for centuries. If there will come a time those will finally be revealed, only the ashes of the now ruined mansion know. However, on nights when the wind howls and thunder booms across the sky, some still claim hearing of voices where it once stood. Of cries and wails that fill the nights and desperate calls for help for anyone who dares listen. As for those who once tread its halls, despite their problems, Luke and Hannah Wright managed to salvage their 7-year marriage. Not without its fair share of challenges, of course, especially for Luke. But for the sake of their children, he tries, although the man still fears fatherhood, afraid of becoming like his father was to him. However, with a little help from Hannah, he eventually comes around, especially when the twins are born. He's still far from being a good father. He thinks he will never be. There are parts of him that will always remain unpleasant and will exasperate Hannah to no end. But even someone like him sees the joy in this, in having a family. For the first time in a long while, he admits he's content. They're happy. Months after her recovery, Marianne McCulloch heads back to her homeland, ready to close a chapter of a past she has left hanging for so long. There, she visits Lorraine's grave, asking for forgiveness from the girl she once loved, something she has intentionally avoided for years. Although the terror of what she has witnessed inside the Ermengarde mansion still clings to her, she bravely chooses to move on from it, and continues to bang her eyeless, I should say, assistant. Bravo to her. Not deterred by the fact he was born without eye sockets or eyes. Turning a new leaf by focusing on a new branch of her interior design company, and leaving her interior design company at Luxborn in the hands of her secretary instead. Although she never returns to the city after, she is frequently seen visiting to check on the people, has become acquainted with her in her years there. Having finally accepted herself, she won't deny she's in a happier place now. Despite making the Ireland branch of her interior design company her focus now, Marianne continues to cater to her most avid patrons in Luxborn when requested. And after her work on the Ermengarde mansion, the Wright couple, particularly Hannah Wright, have never trusted another to handle the design of any of the place they own. Upon moving to their new place, after giving birth to hers and Luke's children, Marianne's name is the first thing she calls, while the woman is quick to fly back to the city at the socialite's summons. Surprising. I guess it's because they didn't sleep together. Not only helping with the decorations of their new place, but also assisting with renovations, much to Hannah's delight. Since then, the two women have kept a close friendship. Often they can be seen going around town together when Marianne's in town, and Hannah can be heard recommending the design of her peers during parties and, a little fisting afterwards. In a city often keeping an ear out for any gossip, one can't deny that both women have found a confidant in one another. With help from family and friends, Zachary Steele is soon able to open a photography studio of his own, something he has only dreamed of having as a child. Although he still hopes to get back to making indie films someday, client work and small projects has kept him mostly busy. Hectic as it may be, he can only be glad for the amount of work pouring in. It has made moving on from the incident in the Ermengarde mansion easier, if not faster. But while there are still nightmares, with support from his family, his doctor, and his own drive, the dark images have finally turned into pleasant dreams. He's aware he won't ever truly forget, but he's no longer running away. At times, when he's not busy or after a hard day's work, he thinks there's another story for the big screen to be told in that. An idea he may soon turn into reality once his time affords it. In the months that follow, Rebecca Gales becomes a prominent researcher within Luxborn's major academic circles, especially after writing what she has discovered about Anselm Village and the Ermengarde Mansion. With the help from Professor Andrew Clark, she is soon able to secure funding to continue her research, presenting her findings yearly at local and international symposiums. Now that the tail end of her current study, she hopes to publish her first book, correcting all inaccuracies in the city's current history. A move supported by both colleagues, students, and friends alike. Though she knows she still has a long way to go before she can even begin to change people's minds about it, Professor Clark has warned her as much. She perseveres, doing it not for herself, but for the sake of a history that future generation must never forget. No matter how disturbing her experience with the curse may have been, she remains the worrywart she has always been. Do they hook up? Even after what she has seen, she continues to fret over people she cares about, sometimes much to their frustration or embarrassment. But if there's one thing that has shifted, it's her relationship with the people in her little group, particularly with Zachary Steele. In fact, on numerous occasions, she has been spotted dropping by his new studio, bringing the man food on days when he's swamped with work. They also seem to have grown more comfortable around each other than before. Maybe it's born out of their shared experience, or maybe it's the way they see each other simply changed naturally due to the years they've known each other. Regardless of the whys, it's a change the man welcomes and appreciates. In turn, he strives to return her kind gestures whenever he can, through cunnilingus. For all the horrors they've seen, who would have thought something good will come of it? Because we haven't had good things so far. Things have inevitably become strained between Ashton Frey and Rebecca Gales in the months following her confession. And with their lives getting busier, the two eventually drifted apart as she casually walks by a murder scene. Although neither talks about it and the teacher still strives to forget an old love, it's clear in Rebecca that there are still feelings left she couldn't let go of. If anything, however, this has only made it obvious how much has changed between them, and how much she has clung to the idea of Ashton from their younger days, the one that may not have been there in the first place. Merely an idea for a starry-eyed young girl. But if there will be a time, she will be able to accept this, to move on from the hurt and repair an old friendship that has fallen to ruin. Only she knows. Amidst her struggle, Rebecca finds an unlikely companion in Luke Wright. While being a father has kept him busy nowadays, he still manages to make time for his goddaughter, Kylie Suarez, though the man still won't admit it when asked. Rebecca still regards the man as inseparable. She doubts it'll ever change. But after all she has seen, much as she denies it, she now considers his presence the closest thing she has to comfort. A similar sentiment the businessman seems to hold, even confiding in the woman of his own problems and fears, things he couldn't voice out to his wife. Weird. Their friendship may be awkward at best, but with the grim reality of death having once shadowed over the two of them, it's something they eventually grow fond of in time. With her newfound courage, Isabella Santos finally chooses to pursue what she really wants for herself, painting fruit. Having made enough to keep her family afloat for a few years, and with her blessing, she quits her job at Briar Realty Corporation, never mind the fact that it goes bankrupt, and takes a scholarship offer from the local university. Though remarkably out of practice and unsure if she'll be able to keep up by the time she returns to university, she finds her feet soon enough with help from people close to her. And with her confidence in her skills growing, so do the number of people recognizing her and her work. It doesn't take long for several award-giving bodies to take notice of her. For all her accomplishments, however, she has never truly forgotten what happened at the Ermengarde Mansion. The images still remain in her, and on particularly unpleasant nights, terrors continue to visit her dreams. She knows those won't ever disappear from her life. It has become a part of her in the same way death has permanently taken from her. However, she's no longer afraid, and with a brave face, she carries on, earnestly wishing that someday she'll be able to paint brighter, more vivid thoughts on her canvas, brighter, more vivid fruits on her canvas. An honest portrayal of life and hope amidst the fear. Whatever happened to the butler? Are we gonna, did the butler die? Did he survive? Shortly after accepting the scholarship grant from Luxborn University, Isabella moves from Salemwell Residences in favor of staying in a dorm close to her campus, and turns her back on Rebecca. Although Rebecca Gales is quick to offer assistance for the move, she does admit she will be missing her neighbor for more than 5 years, or her neighbor of more than 5 years. When all is said and done, she has become fonder of the girl over the years, and with her shared experience of the curse, they have only grown closer. Isabella leaves with a promise to visit every once in a while, you know, on maybe some holidays. And even though she still jokingly complains about Rebecca's bossy attitude, she confesses that she also misses the woman's fussing. After all, in a place miles away from her real family, Rebecca is still the closest thing she has to a sister. More than a year later, once everything in their respective lives have settled, Zachary Steele and Isabella Santos finally hold their first exhibit together. A project that has been in the making for almost 2 years after the photographer casually brought it up to the other artist. While merely intended as a small event, it has been surprisingly attended by several members of Luxborn's upper class and art enthusiasts. Although only a few of the pieces have been meant for sale, the show has brought prominence to Zachary and Isabella's names in the city's art scene. It has since been followed by several other exhibits by the two, both in and out of the city. Currently, they are planning to hold their first show overseas in France or Norway. Yet, even with this unexpected, overwhelming fame, friendship between the two has remained strong. Theirs, after all, is a bond that goes beyond being mere partners in a small project. He's her family as much as she is his. Oh my god, my voice. Or throat. Hang on, I need water. This is an ordeal. Ugh. While she's aware she still has plenty of ways to go, getting back to school has also opened a lot of opportunities for Isabella. At times, part-time work has started to come in droves, and she is able to support herself financially through her art alone. Something she has only dreamed of as a child. And when clients are generous enough, she's able to send money back home as well, despite her family's reassurances. One such client is Marianne McCulloch, interior design company, her interior design company, who frequently commissions her for murals after the woman has learned of her skill. Though at times she finds it difficult to keep up with the interior designer's standard for quality, it's a job and a challenge she's only too happy to accept, even if it means doing what she loves. Oh boy. Following his success in bringing several major cases to a close, Ashton Frey receives a recommendation for transfer to Luxborn's leading agency against organized crimes. An endorsement eagerly backed by the newly appointed successor to the late Chief Inspector Lee. Huh? Wait. He died? Abigail Harris? Okay, well, now we know what happened to Inspector Lee. Who is this Abigail Harris? Knowing he'll have more resources, leeway, and a bigger chance at ultimately bringing Luke right to justice, Ashton Frey accepts. He still warns the people close to him against Wright and his associates, but only a friendly reminder now, more than anything. Though he does worry, he believes they are wise enough to know what they are doing and trust their judgment. Except Rebecca, he doesn't talk to her. For now, he has decided to leave the evidence and the law to speak for itself and take care of the man once the proper time comes. Nowadays, police work and operations keep him busy, sometimes taking him away from the city he grew up in for days on end. A rare thing for him to enjoy once upon a time, yet this time he never loses his drive. Simply growing more determined after having finally found a clear purpose, close to the rush and excitement he dreamed of as a child. Although Ashton still keeps mum about specific details of his work, his experience with the curse has slowly taught him how to open up, especially to those who he knows that genuinely care for him. He still has a long way to go, he knows that, but for the sake of the people who are still with him, those who have chosen to stay, he hopes that there will come a day when he no longer has to hide behind his own lies. A day when he is no longer afraid of facing the truth in his own words. On his off days, Ashton is usually seen loitering around Zachary Steele's studio, either to help him out on one of his pet projects, or exasperating the other man on purpose. Either that, or it's mostly the latter. At certain times, he'll volunteer to model for one of Zach's projects in spite of the photographer's reassurances that it's not needed, especially he does not need to take his clothes off. Regardless, Ashton insists on taking his clothes off before complaining about how meticulous the whole process is years later, hours later, and how drafty Zach's studio is, much to Zach's utter amusement and bafflement. Though sometimes they may get into small, trivial arguments, things have stayed cordial between the two. If anything, the ordeal they've both gone through has merely strengthened a friendship the detective didn't expect to find in anyone. Between the lingering trauma and their measly attempts at normalcy, it takes a few months for the awkwardness to finally lift for both Ashton Frey and Isabella Santos. Several weeks trying to find their voice and remembering how to act around each other despite enduring affections. But once the unease fades, there's only their usual banter and report to fall back on, the casual talk and the friendly jibes. And for the both of them, it's easy, like breathing, like coming home after another journey, a comfort in spite of the things they have gone through. Their days may still be filled with petty arguments and light teasing, but in the aftermath, when all has been said and done, something constant has already been forged between them. Quiet, steadfast thing they can both hold on to as they both carry on. Is that it? And nothing about the butler. or Luke's, child with that chief inspector's wife. There's some holes in this, and we better not, just in case that was licensed music. Dear you, if you're reading this, this means you've finished playing the game in one way or another, and we thank you for the time you've spent playing the letter. This game is our passion project more than anything. We sincerely hope we delivered in bringing you a one-of-a-kind visual novel experience. The letter is the first of many visual novels coming from us. If you like what we did with this game and would like to support us, please take some time to click on the button below to find out how. Thank you for so much for everything. Let's talk soon. Main menu. Okay, well, that was certainly very, very long. Pretty good. Cora, you're at it again. But it was good. I mean, it was a horror visual novel. It was pleasant. It achieved its horrorness and visual novelness. Nothing more to say other than I am thankful it's done with. Finally, it's been like over a year.